Welcome back, everybody. It is another cold morning in the Arizona desert. Two things to do today. One, I want to finish up the carburetor, and to do that I got to get the throttle cable in. It did arrive. Unfortunately, it is not exactly what I hoped it would be, but I'm going to make it work if I can. And the other day, when I was too lazy to bring a camera out, I popped the alternator out. It's sitting over here. It's got a bad voltage regulator or bad diodes, not sure which, but there's a drain coming from it, and don't know if you can hear that, but the bearings in it are shot as well. So here is both the old and the new throttle cable. One of the problems I'm having is without that stupid bell crank that bolts down near the bottom of the exhaust manifold, without that to redirect the motion of the cable upwards, I've got to run the cable up to the carburetor to get it to work. And to do that, it has to turn a 90-degree bend. And the original one, I do not believe is long enough. Even this thing is just solid. But even if it were, it's just plain not long enough at only 21 and maybe 21 1/4 inches if I could straighten it completely out, which I can't. So I was looking for a throttle cable about 25, 26 inches long. This one I think fits on a Gremlin. And it claimed to be 25 inches long, which I think would be fine. But the problem is when I got it, most of the extra length, or at least half of the extra length, is the cable outside of the sleeve. And this is about, I don't know, 23 inches long, the sleeve, and the sleeve here is less. So I'm thinking this will work also on the carburetor end. It doesn't have that stupid ball. It's got an open thing here, and I can also shorten that down and reclamp or resolder that in if I have to. The accelerator pedal end looks, I don't know, it doesn't look the same, but it looks close enough that I think it will work, although that end there kind of worries me, but we'll see. I'm going to give it a go. I can always send it back to Amazon, plus it was stupid cheap. It was only $10, but let me give it a go and let's see what we can get. And of course, I'm going to have to build a bracket. So first problem I'm having with this new cable, unfortunately, is that square hole back there. That's a 1/2-inch hole. It's designed for that, which is one of those 1/2-inch push lock things. And this, for some reason, it's 1/2 inch across the push lock side. Then this way, it's 5/8. So you can see those little projections on it. Those are going to have to come off, or at least be filed down enough. All right, I modified that cable slightly. Just took off some of that plastic extension so I could get it to go into my hole back there and lock, and that worked fine. And it fits on the pedal fine. There's another extra lug on that cable in there by the pedal. I'm hoping that's not going to cause me a problem, but if it does, I'll have to pull the cable and remove it, but I'm not worried about that right now. And I think this cable is actually going to be able to make that bend and be fine. Now it's going to have to, that pull all, see, that's not even pulled all the way out. This cable is crazy long. I'd like to shorten that, but I really don't feel like it now. So I'm going to attach that to the carburetor, and temporarily, obviously, for now. And then I'm going to have to build a bracket right down here where my finger is with a square hole in it to hold it. And I think I'm going to kind of come in at a slight upward angle like that. And I think I'm going to use this hole down here. I already pulled the bolt out to attach my bracket to, and I got a piece of metal here. So here is the bracket I made. Not a bad looking bracket, if I do say so myself. I have test fitted. It is perfect. It took me longer to file that darn square, that round hole square, than it did to make the whole rest of the bracket. Well, I believe I have this done. I hope that's showing up in there. Let me turn the light on, see if that helps. There's my bracket there. My cable runs kind of down underneath the brake booster here. I'm telling you, if that cable was 2 inches shorter, I don't believe it would work. And the factory cable is 2 inches shorter. And I also used my newly made bracket as the return spring. Not sure about that return spring yet, but I bought one of those kits What did I do with it? There it is. Picked up one of these kits that got 3 return spring sets in it, so you know you can use the big one, the little one, or you can put the big one inside the little one. First I tried both of them, and that was going to take like a man and 2 small boys to give it any gas. So I wound up on the settling on the small one, and it may not be quite enough spring, but we'll find out. And I'm pretty happy with the way that's on there. I'm really not seeing anything wrong with that. For those of you who are saying it's only one bolt and it's going to swivel, it really can't. If it goes very far in toward the firewall, it's going to hit the brake booster. If it tries to go back the other way, there's a ledge there it's going to hit. So it really can't. Plus, I don't really see why it would. Kind of liking it. Pretty happy with it, to be honest with you. I had a problem here. This does not seem to want to stay tight against the firewall, and I don't know. I haven't looked inside. I don't know whether I broke the clips off it. That part is good. It locked into my my bracket up here really well, so that's a good thing. So I believe, with the exception of teeing this hose into there, I believe with the exception of that, I am all done. My cable's all connected. I even made my little tab back here to connect my fuel pump to, so that's not flopping around, and I'm really pretty happy with it. I can't see anything under there, but I think it's all together and ready to go. And while I was finishing up that last tab to hold the fuel pump in, or the fuel filter, I'm sorry, the fuel filter, while I was doing that, my alternator arrived. It's only about 2 o'clock, so I'm trying to think of one damn good reason why I shouldn't go ahead and put that alternator in, and I can't think of one. Brand new alternator for 82 bucks, manufactured for AC Delco. Why do I think that means made in China? Well, new alternator's in, and my parasitic draw is gone, and the sound of the bad bearing is gone, or the bearing going bad is gone. Starts up and runs great. Really love the way it's running. Haven't driven it yet, but I certainly will. Got all my mounts and everything in place. Got the wiring back there for the backup lights fixed. Only one problem. My new alternator's putting out 15.25 volts, which is too much, unfortunately. I'm going to drive it for a week and see, but this is an AC Delco branded alternator, brand new. When I buy AC Delco, I expect better than that, because no alternator putting out 15.25 volts was tested before it left, because that's out of spec, and that's going to shorten the life of batteries. Now, do I care about it here in Arizona when a battery is going to be dead in 3 years anyway? I'm not really sure that I do. I'm going to run it for a week or two, and if it comes down under 15, I'll probably leave it alone. If it stays up around 15.25 or 15.5, I'll probably send it back. Kind of a sucky job doing it down there, but now I've got practice at it, so I can probably do it better the next time. Tomorrow morning, we'll give it a test drive with the new carburetor. Sure seems to be running fabulously here, but we'll give it a drive and we'll see how it does. Well, it is windier than hell out today, and I'm going to go for my short little drive. I came out a little earlier and warmed it up so that I could just get in here and do this. Good Lord. Tell you what, sometimes you just can't get a break. I'll tell you one thing I really don't like. I don't like the way that accelerator feels at all. You push and you push and you push and nothing happens, and all of a sudden you push a little more and you get half throttle. That just doesn't seem like something that I want to have stay, but it works for now. Maybe something I'll get used to. Seems like it could be a little smoother than that. I'll tell you what, throttle response seems good from what I can tell so far. Press on the gas, and there's no lag or hesitation. I just floored it for fun and the pedal stuck there. That's not a good sign. I do want to try some full throttle. Maybe right about here. Yeah, when you give it full throttle, it falls on its face. And then it sticks. Okay, well, we obviously have to work that out. Not sure why it would fall flat on its face when you give it full throttle, but even if you go slow, it does. Alright, well, that's not making me happy, but there's always something that doesn't make me happy. I forgot how much this thing rattles. The performance on the primary barrel is very good. When you hit the gas on the secondary barrel, it falls on its face. I mean, completely falls on its face. And the throttle sticking down is not something that I'm too thrilled with. And I'm not very happy with how that throttle feels. But it sure would be nice if it was smoother. I'm getting used to it. I think the reason why the accelerator feels stiff right off is because of the angle that I'm pulling it at. I think I may have to readjust that to pull from this hole up here as opposed to that hole all the way back there in the back. I think that's why it feels that way. Why it's sticking, I do not know, because I cannot reproduce it just sitting here. I could get used to it, but I'd rather fix it. So I think I've made that a little bit better. It's much smoother now, works better. I had to cut that lug off the cable that's in on the accelerator pedal end. This is not the right cable. I was hoping it was going to be, but it just isn't. But my big problem with it at this point is this 90-degree bend it has to take there. If this whole thing were closer, you know, if the part outside of the cable, outer cable sheath were closer, I could make that better, tweak that mount a little bit. So don't laugh, but I came out here and I changed this again. I don't see if I can get the camera back there. I cut this end off of the cable, and I made this little piece that connected and allowed me to connect the bare end of the cable to the carburetor. That let me move my bracket here higher and further closer to the carburetor, which let me get less of an extreme angle on this cable, which makes me happier, and it let me get a much straighter run into it. It's a lot smoother now. I had to shorten the spring up a bit, but you know what? Can't change one thing without changing everything else. So I'm happier with it now. I'm not saying that's I think, the best it could be. I'm going to keep my eye open for a cheap one of those stupid Rube Goldberg bell crank things that used to go down below, because I've given up hope of finding the one that came off of this. I must have given it away or gotten rid of it somehow. I just can't remember. But I think that's how it's going to be now, because I've been fighting this all day today. And while I'm closer to the finish line, I have reached the point of diminishing returns. I'm working harder and harder, and I'm spinning my wheels and not getting closer to the checkered flag. So it's actually pretty smooth now, and it has a nice, fairly straight pull on it, and it feels good. So I'm going to leave it there for now. If I think of something better, I'll change it then. And then I'm going to have to deal with the fact that the engine falls flat on its face when you open the secondary. And I'm just going to have to do a little research about that. Anyway, you know the drill. Thanks for watching.